You mentioned it before. If
Mhm.
I say MCATs, what comes to mind? I mean, you did pass, although you said it was a hiccup, but
Ooh, stress.
it was, any tips to deal with that stress or anxiety?
Yeah, wow. It's like, so you have to believe in yourself, right? Especially if you got good grades or like you know that medicine is for you. You just have to kind of like believe in yourself. And it's not to say that if you had bad grades, like, this isn't for you, but you have to believe in your capabilities, right? And so the MCAT is one of those things. It literally is just there to weed people out, right? It's just an exam. It doesn't tell you the type
Mhm.
of person that you are, the type of physician that you can be. It's essentially just to say, can you sit for this test, right? And so originally when I first took it, I had no business taking this exam. And I didn't realize that I didn't have any business taking this exam. And so when I got back to my school, I was like, oh, okay, so this isn't pretty, but we're gonna figure it out. Essentially, like I took time off after undergrad. I ended up going back to get my master's, and then I was like blessed with this tutor who is like amazing. And that's literally like what like got me into medical school. Because when I tell you I destroyed it the second time that I took it,
Yeah.
and I was like, it's all because I feel like especially in like the minority community, I feel like test taking skills are one of those weird things that a lot of people don't have, right? Or like they're not as efficient as like people that aren't minorities. So I felt like
Mhm.
that was always my problem. It wasn't that I wasn't smart enough. I just literally couldn't sit for an exam that they were catering towards, I feel like, a certain demographic. And so once I got the tutor, and mind you, my man is a genius. He used to work for Kaplan, right? And
Got you.
he taught the empath for years. And then you know what he did? He decided he's going to go into medical school and he created his own version of like an MCAT prep course. And so essentially he is a student, like he's one of my peers, like, and he goes to Rutgers with me. So that's essentially how I got the connection. But when I tell you, he was literally a genius. And like after I studied with him, I was like, wow, you know what? Like I really had it in me this entire time. I just literally needed somebody to show me the tips and the tricks on how to like understand what I'm reading and apply my knowledge.
I feel you. I mean, I didn't have a genius, but definitely, like, I had to take my teacher license exam twice. Second time, I killed it, and
Yeah.
then at Rutgers, we had a review for a free review. Just saying, Rutgers is a good school. A free
Right.
review for the social work licensure exam is same thing. They were just like, this is how you read the question. This
Right.
is what they're asking. Get out of your head and just
Right.
take the test. You know what
Right.
I mean? So,
Literally.
yeah, I feel you, man. Just getting a little bit more comfortable with that test.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna keep this trainer moving if that's okay with you.
Definitely.
All right. All right. So you mentioned drinking water, getting rest, and studying. So, what's your study routine like, and how have those habits evolved over time?
Wow, that's a really good question. Whew, I don't even think I really have an answer because it's like it's something that's constantly changing. So I'll like start with undergrad. I was one of those people. I used to study for an exam like 2, 3 days before. Like that was it. I wouldn't be sitting here studying every day, every night. Like I wouldn't do it. I take the exam, do well, keep it pushing. When I got to medical school, well, even when I was getting my master's, I was still kind of doing the same thing.
Still
And
making the dean's list doing that?
right. But it was like I was working full time, but I was like, I know I want to get into medical school, so I can't slack with these grades. So even if I only had the 3 days, I would like push it to the max for those 3 days. Once I got to medical school, I was like, wow, things are so different. Like you have to study every day, like every single day. And that was just something I just couldn't comprehend. Like it couldn't register in my mind that like this is literally what I got to do. And I'm like, I'm smart, but it's like, okay, yeah, you're in medical school. Everyone is smart. So it's like, all right, what are you going to do with that? So I'm like, dang, do I really have to study every day? And it wasn't really until like the end of my second year, which is horrible, that I realized that like certain things that were working for me. So I'm a auditory learner. So I would like go to lectures and like sometimes re-listen to the lectures. And then I'd rewrite my notes because then I'm also like a visual learner in like when
Mhm.
I write things. So it's like I'll be taking the exam and I'll be like, this is in the top right corner and this, that, and the third, like of my own notes. So I had to go back and do that. But as I was pursuing third year, I was like, third year is very different from your first 2 years of medical school in that you're actually in the hospital or you're in, whatever clinic site, and you're actually working essentially alongside the doctors or the residents. And so you're having like a 9 to 5, sometimes a 6 to 6, you know what I mean? So it's like your study day is very different. So you'll try and do like questions or videos for like an hour or two. And then by then, essentially your brain is at its capacity for the day. So it's like you have to go to sleep, right? Because you have
Yes.
to get up the next day and you still have to get
Yes.
patients and you still have to do other assignments. But it's like your studying isn't limited Monday through Friday. Like your studying is literally every single day. So I feel like now I'm like better equipped. I understand things a lot better once I actually make sure I sit and concentrate and not like flipping on my phone and, texting and watching
Yes.
YouTube and social media in between. So it's like, once I like sit down and like study, I'm like, okay, I can do this.
That's crazy because that's why I end up staying late tonight. That's what the presentation was about, like all these things that creep in on our time and we don't realize it, right?
Right.
And that YouTube monster is real. It'll send you down.
I know. Right. And it's like, that's like outside of like things of like caring for yourself, you got to do laundry. You got to meal prep. You know what I mean? You have to see or speak to your family or friends or people that are important in your life. You have to like, perform other acts of self-care. Like you have to take care of yourself. So it's just like trying to study or trying to get everything done in one day. Sometimes it just seems like it's not possible, which it isn't, for me most of the time. But that's also because I procrastinate. But I'll eventually get it together, which is actually hilarious. I don't know how time works in my favor towards the end, but it works out. And I'm like, you know what, God, thank you, because you knew I was about to struggle.
She said it works out in the end somehow.
Right.